Different parts of a hot spring are called facies. These structures develop in hot springs through a process called deposition. As the water is forced up out of the ground, it passes through a layer of limestone rock. It picks up minerals along the way. When it emerges from the ground, the water releases heat and carbon dioxide. This changes the pH level of the water. As soon as the pH level passes 6.1, the dissolved limestone is released from the water. It is deposited or left behind as the water flows out. We will talk more about this later. What you need to understand now is that the limestone is deposited in specific formations called facies. The 5 facies. The first facies we will talk about is the vent. The vent is where the water comes up through the ground and out onto the surface. In this picture of Canary Spring, you can see the vent on the right, just below the trees. The water is bubbling up and flowing outward in all directions. The area around the Canary Spring vent resembles a bathroom sink. It is a bit easier to see in this picture, taken after Canary Spring went dry in October. The vent is the hottest and most acidic point in the hot spring. As the water flows outward, it will lose heat and carbon dioxide, which will raise the pH level. Not all vents are bowl-shaped. The vent at Orange Spring Mound occurs along a crack or fissure. The water flows out along the crack, forming a mound. This mound is called a fissure ridge. The vent at Orange Spring Mound is small compared to Canary Spring and occurs on a near vertical slope on the side of the formation. The water runs straight down the face, and therefore it is missing some of the other facies that we will see in springs like Canary Spring. The second facies we will look at is called the apron channel. This structure is easy to identify by the microbes called aquifocales, or cream streamers. These long, slender, pasta-shaped streamers are made up of chains of aquifocales bacteria. They spread out from the vent across the apron channel. Closest to the vent, they form a mat that lays on top of the travertine. Further from the vent, as the water cools slightly, the aquifocales chains become encrusted in calcium carbonate, or travertine rock. This is where the apron shape of aquifocales hanging down, as seen in this photo, is seen. When the flow rate decreases or stops, the travertine dries up, and the aquifocales die. They leave behind hollow channels in the travertine. This is a fossil record of bacterial life. While walking around Mammoth, look for these formations and evidence of dry hot springs along the trail. The pond is the most striking of the 5 facies. Stair-step-like travertine formations called terraces build up as water from the vent flows and loses heat and carbon dioxide. The terraces in the pond are over 10 centimeters in height. Pools of water collect on top of each terrace as the edge of the terrace grows taller and creates a dam. Within the ponds, unique formations of calcium carbonate develop. These delicate structures resemble trees and corals in shape and texture. The proximal slope is characterized by terracets and microterracets. Like the terraces in the pond facies, these resemble stair steps, but on a smaller scale. The terracets and microterracets are less than 10 centimeters high and contain miniature ponds. The proximal slope often has a wide variety of colorful bacteria. The bacterial communities in the proximal slope can change frequently as the conditions of the water and atmosphere change. The distal slope is the final facies in the Facies model. The distal slope is farthest from the vent. The beginnings of microterracets can sometimes be seen, as they are here at Angel Terrace, as the water flows away from the spring. Sometimes the water soaks into the ground, as it does here at narrow gauge. On the board, you will see a diagram of the Facies model. Copy this diagram into your notebook and label each of the facies found in the model.